Art of the Kickstart, Episode 5.
Welcome to the artofthekickstart.com, where entrepreneurs are constantly pushing the envelope to build businesses of greatness. Inventors are innovating and creating the products of the future, and backers stand strong for what they believe. These are some of the great thinkers, inventors, and leaders of our time. Here are their stories.
Hey guys, welcome to Art of the Kickstart. Today I'm extremely excited to have Brenda Brundage of RooSport's on the line to share her story, innovating the fitness world, helping people carry their stuff in a way better way. So thanks so much for coming today, Brenda.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
So I love to kick these interviews off with a success quote, something that can really motivate people or what you live your life by. So what would that be for you?
Well, one of my favorites is from Ray Kroc, and it is, luck is the dividend of sweat. The more you sweat, the luckier you get.
I love that. So perfect. So let's talk a little bit about how you got into this. So were you originally an entrepreneur? Where did the idea for RooSport come from?
Do you know, I have never done that. I just, mother of 6 and stay-at-home mom. And I just, I was in my 50s, but I've been a runner for a long time. And I think I'm an older fashioned runner. I don't like carrying things. I don't like having anything around my waist. But I need a place to carry things like maybe a few energy gels or a protein bar or something like that. And I just got tired of putting them in my running bra. So my running partner one day said, "Hey, can you make my son a pocket for his triathlete shorts? He's really extremely fast and a great athlete." And I said, "Sure." So we made him a little pocket and he pinned it on his shorts and it worked great. So then I started making pockets and sewing them to my athletic wear. And then I thought, gosh, this works so great for me. If it benefits me, maybe it can benefit someone else. And so one day while running, I just came up with the idea of magnets. And then we, of course, named it the RooSport after the kangaroo because it is an extra pocket.
That's amazing. That's a great idea for the name. And I had no idea. You're doing this with 6 kids. That is amazing. How does a mom find time to build something innovative like this, get it on Kickstarter and get it out there?
Well, actually, my kids have been a great help because luckily they're all married and out of the house. But my girls, they travel with us. They do shows. My husband's a great salesman and they inherited their sales ability from him. And so it's been a great, opportunity for us to actually have our kids in business with us. They travel to the shows. We could write a book on the funny stories we've had in our adventures, but they've been a huge help.
I think that's really cool to be building a business as a family, but it's got to be stressful as well. How do you deal with that overriding sense of, oh God, our entire family is riding on this. We're kind of all vested into it. How do you deal with that? It's got to be hard.
It is sometimes. In fact, I think that the way you deal with things basically throughout my life, we deal with a lot of things as a family through humor. And I've got one daughter that on her Facebook page, she puts that she's the president. And my other daughter says, "Wait a minute, you're not the president." "Well, then you're the CEO." And I mean, we do have times when there's a little bit of jealousy, there's a little bit of competition, but in a good way. And I think that's normal in any family, but we have a lot of respect for each other, which helps overcome some of that.
So I know from being a runner in high school, I did long distance track, and you get these girly little super short shorts. There's no pockets. I can completely see where the RooSport would be a great fit for people looking to make sure you hold on to your cell phone, your key, something important. How did you go about making sure that what you were creating would be something amazing for people that they would buy?
Well, I used it. I ran several marathons with it. And when I realized how comfortable it was to wear, I thought, you know what, if this works for me, it's got to work for other people also. And we'd be on the bus riding up to a marathon and, someone would say, "Where'd you get that? What is that? Where did you get that?" And I just thought, let's go with this. Let's try this idea. And luckily, it's been very successful.
What'd you do once people started giving you that feedback of, hey, that looks kind of cool. I might actually want to use that. How do you take that to the next level?
Well, I kind of have a background in sewing, and so I was able to make a mock-up on my own. And then, with my husband with his sales background, he was the one that was actually able to help us. And we just found a manufacturer and sent away a sample. And it was a slow process, but just one that I think when you have an idea and you realize that it's something that you definitely want to go for, you just have to put that persistent effort in and keep thinking, there are days when you get a little discouraged. And I remember before our first show, I was so nervous. I was really sick to my stomach. But, we went to our first little show. We sold these under a pine tree at a half marathon. We sold 40. And I thought, wow, I really think this can work. And just from there, it's just taken off.
That first sale that you get, the first time you create something and build a business out of it, it's so transformative for entrepreneurs, for people like you that are creating something. How do people get something out on the market that they can sell as quickly as possible? When's it ready?
Well, when's it ready it just depends on what your expertise is and your contacts. A lot of times, if you've got contacts that can help you build a mock-up, or if you can do it yourself, and then if you've got contacts, people, in business are so willing to help each other. And I think that's one of the greatest things about business is you find other people that are just so willing to share their knowledge, and that's what really helps.
So you create this, it's something original. It's almost as if you're taking, for lack of a better term, the 70s and 80s, Richard, I can't even think of his name, the fanny pack kind of thing, and you're innovating it. You're making it sexy for the modern age, taking the same kind of functionality and making it awesome. What do you do? Do you need patents for that? I know I saw a little bit about your information, but can you go a little bit deeper into that?
Right. We did before we ever came out with the product. We went through the patent process. I read the book called How to Patent It Yourself, but decided it would be better to go through a patent attorney. So we did that. Our patent is still pending. But I think that it's always good to protect your idea, to protect your product with a patent.
So Brenda, my next question for you, you've been building this business for a while now. How has it been going for you, and why are you doing a Kickstarter campaign now? Why crowdfunding?
Well, we're doing crowdfunding because we're constantly trying to improve our product. And every weekend we are at a different expo for running or some athletic. And we do travel shows also because it's great to carry a passport. But we get suggestions from customers, and we love actually being in the thick of the people who are actually using our product. And they'll give us suggestions. One of the biggest suggestions we have is colors. So to come out with colors, we wanted to try to pre-sell our product to see which colors are going to be the most popular. So we decided to do Kickstarter, which is actually allowing the public to pre-order their product. And then at the end of the campaign, they will be able to tell us which color they want. And I think that's going to really help us a lot. When we started the RooSport, we just did of course, the colors of the RooSport are black and orange. And we went with orange because it's not gender specific. And it's been great. Some people will say, oh, I don't really like orange, but I love your product. And so they'll buy it. So we're really excited to come out with the colors, and we didn't want to have a lot of product, especially with a new startup that you can't sell. So Kickstarter's been great to allow us to pre-order.
Yeah, it's beautiful to get those pre-orders. And one question I have for you guys, what have you been doing outside of the local networking style events where you're actually going and meeting the runners, selling to them at the races? What have you been doing to help grow the business and the product?
Well, we actually have a strong online presence. We also have reached out to Amazon. Amazon's been a great platform for us. Our sales have really started going crazy on Amazon. We are getting ready to go into retail stores. We get a lot of requests for that. And so we're getting ready to go into retail stores. But right now, the only thing we've been doing is to reach out to people online. We do a lot of Facebook, social media, a lot of things like that.
So I know shiny object syndrome can be a little bit dangerous as an entrepreneur. You want to jump from this to that. But one of the things that I see when I look at your product, my brain jumps to white labeling. Giving these out, races could sponsor them and have their own logos printed on them. Is that ever something you guys have considered or tried doing?
It is. And we have requests for that too. And the only thing we would need in that case, because the logo cannot be printed on after the product is made because of the magnet. You don't want to get heat around the strength of that magnet. It can damage the strength of your magnet. And so as long as we have an order beforehand and we can get that printed on the fabric of the pocket before it's made, we just have to work through that with manufacturing, but it's definitely a possibility.
So with that, it is a kind of complex product in that it's almost a consumer's goods type of product you could buy in a store, but it involves the magnet. What were some challenges that you had sourcing the product, finding someone to create this?
As far as the magnet goes?
Yeah, just in terms of getting something out there that was high quality, it wouldn't break or tear apart. I'm sure there had to be challenges.
That actually has been our biggest challenge with this whole business is the manufacturing. Finding a manufacturer, not that can build you a quality product, but can do it consistently. Our first batch of pockets came out. They were great. We reordered. The second batch came and they were not up to our standards by any means. And so sometimes that's the biggest challenge is trying to get that product consistent. And now we have a manufacturer that has given us a consistent product. And we are always outsourcing. We've actually got samples out to a couple other manufacturers stateside to see if we can't get the RooSport manufactured in the United States, which is a big question that we get from a lot of customers is they'd like to see it made here. And we definitely, as a small business, would love to be able to do it in the United States.
What would you recommend for someone first getting started? That's always the debate, the lower cost versus made in the U.S.
Yeah, it's really hard. I know that there have been several studies. I mean, a lot of big companies think that to be successful, you have to produce overseas, and there are varying opinions on that. But my recommendation is we, of course, not knowing what we were doing very much at first, we went with what we had, and that was our contact was overseas, and we were able to get a pretty good quality product for not very much money. And so, I would just recommend if you can have it made here for a reasonable price, I think it makes sense to go to do your manufacturing here. But a lot of times that's not the case. Customers don't want to pay the price that it costs to make it in the United States a lot of times.
Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too, whatever that means, right? So Brenda, I want to jump into the launch round now. Are you ready?
Yes.
Today's Art of the Kickstart podcast is brought to you guys by Audible.com. I love podcasts. I love books. I don't know about you, but I think it's one of the best ways you can possibly get business knowledge and insight into your head, help further your career, further your journey in life. If you guys go to artofthekickstart.com/audible, you can get a 1-month free trial and download of any audiobook on audible.com. Over 100,000 titles. They've sure got everything you're looking for. And really, what better way is there to take your business to the next level? Whether you're reading Steve Jobs, Guy Kawasaki, there's so many great options. Look at what the greats have done and learn from them. Here we go. Welcome to the launch round, where we take our guests through a series of rapid-fire questions geared towards unlocking the inner inventor and entrepreneur in all of us. Get ready to blast off and unlock your inner potential. Let's do this.
So Brenda, what does it mean to you to be an inventor?
I don't think of myself as an inventor. I just think of myself as someone who's trying to solve a problem. And so when people say, oh, you created this, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I did.
I think that's such a great definition. You're not trying to be an inventor. You just see a problem and you fix it. That's what an inventor is, and it's a beautiful thing. Where do you see crowdfunding going in the next couple of years? It's changed the industry so much.
It is, and I think it's been a great platform. I see it really gaining popularity. I know that there's a lot of people who still are not familiar with it and don't understand how it works, but I think the longer it's around, just like with anything, the longer it's around, just the more accepted it'll become.
I totally agree. It's so huge. It's a game changer for entrepreneurs. And for entrepreneurs, learning is something that every entrepreneur I've spoken with, reading, they're always learning, trying to constantly improve themselves. What are 3 books that have been really motivational or aspirational in your life, something that's changed you?
Well, I love Zig Ziglar, so I love positive thinking. And the book that stands out the most to me is there's a book called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And I love that book because especially women, we tend to worry a lot. And so that's a great book. I love How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's also been a great book for me.
That's great. Yeah, those are absolutely amazing books, and I definitely think people should check them out if they haven't already. And now I want to kind of transition. In terms of Kickstarter, what's motivated you as an entrepreneur, as someone going into crowdfunding? Are there any campaigns that really stand out to you?
Oh, there's some great campaigns. I think just, going over the Kickstarter campaigns and looking at what people have created has been fascinating. I like some of the really original ones. I know that there's one that's been catching a lot of media lately, and it's the potato salad one, which has been really funny. People's originality just really inspires me, all the different ideas and things there are out there for people to take advantage of.
That's one of the most amazing things, the Discover feature, where you just see what other people are doing and it just gets you inspired. It helps you see other things you might not have seen. And now let's jump out of the launch round and kind of get into a little bit more sage wisdom, things that you've learned through your experiences. If you had to start over the RooSport Kickstarter campaign today, you had to redo it, what would you change? What would you do differently?
I probably would have done a little bit more preparation. I mean, there's so much that you can do ahead of time to alert people, to build up a little bit of momentum before you launch Kickstarter. Because once you launch Kickstarter, if you can keep up into the popular category, you can keep your momentum going. And so I think that's one thing I would do differently, is really have as much preparation as you can to get going.
What are the best ways to prepare for that? What would you recommend?
Well, finding people in whatever the category is that you've chosen, if it's art, if it's books, if it's whatever it is that you've chosen, finding people in that arena and getting your word out to them so that they can help you promote your product.
That's always huge, because just getting the eyeballs on your campaign, there's so many great inventors creating things, but there's only so many people looking. There's only so much time. People's attention spans are shortening. You got to stay on top of that. And then my last question for you. You've been an amazing guest, Brenda. If you had one piece of advice for entrepreneurs, for inventors, people looking to change the world and actually build a business of greatness, what would it be?
Just don't stop. If you've got something that works for you, it's going to work for someone else. Just don't stop. Don't take criticism too personally. A lot of times, someone might not like your product, but that doesn't mean that there's not someone else that will. And so just keep going.
So I totally agree, but I have to play devil's advocate. When is it time? When do you know that if you're not getting traction? Sometimes you do have to call it quits. When? How can you tell?
If your product's not selling, I would think that would totally be like with us. Ours is, like you said, ours is a hands-on product. And if it's not selling and your sales aren't there and you're doing shows and you're not getting the numbers, then I definitely think you might want to look into try creating something else or try refining your product or try going down a different path. Luckily, we haven't had to deal with that, but I'm sure that there are a lot of people who will.
Yeah, the RooSport 2.0 is selling like hotcakes. You've tripled your goal so far. Give people a pitch. What would you like to say to people? Give a little plug for yourself. Talk about it.
Well, I just think, as a woman with no pockets, and I know that guys have a lot of, like you said, with the shorts that have no pockets, it's just a universal product. If you want to be able to have hands-free to walk your dog, to go shopping, to travel, it's a great place to carry your stuff, to keep it close to your body. It's comfortable, washable, they're guaranteed. We have great customer service, and it's something that you definitely should try. It'll change the way that you carry things.
Yeah, guys, quit making excuses. Just get to the gym. You can always do it. There's always stuff out there to help you.
That's so true.
Exactly. Brenda, you've been an amazing guest so far.
Thank you, Matt.
That sounds terrible, but thank you so much for coming on. You've been awesome.
Matt, you're so great. Thanks for taking the time to have me.
It's been a great experience.
Thank you.
How inspirational is Brenda? A lifelong runner. She takes her passion, a problem that her friend has, and just builds a business out of it. She builds a family business, the thing every entrepreneur wants. They want happiness, they want freedom, and they want to be with others that they love. And Brenda's doing it. And that's our challenge today, guys. Look at the problems that people hand to you. These are literally business ideas on a basket. You can do anything that you want with them. So just look at what comes up in your life that people have, issues they have. What do they come to you with? This could be what you build your business and your life around. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Art of the Kickstart, where we believe makers, inventors, and entrepreneurs are changing the world and bringing humanity forward into the future. I'm your host, Matt Ward, and it's been a pleasure guiding you through this journey of creation and innovation. I hope you're inspired by this and check out artofthekickstart.com to get more information and tactics to help you launch your own business, product, and dreams.